Hi guys, so one of the other videos we made, we talked about hip flexor tightness and how we would use the kneeling hip flexor stretch to try to work on that. So we gave a lot of kind of cues on how to do that. The other thing we use, and maybe if you've been here with Ivan or myself, we might have pulled out the monster band on you to try to help kind of facilitate that stretch a little more into the hip flexor. So this is just, some people call them monster bands. They're also pull-up assist bands. If you go on Amazon or something, that's probably what you find them under. They're about like 20 bucks most of the time, and they vary in resistance. So I think this one is like a range 75 to 125, depending on how far away you are from the anchor point. And this is just a TRX door anchor that we hooked in the other side of this door, so that kind of keeps it pretty stable. So these are good not only for this, but for anything kind of, we use them probably sometimes for ankle mobility, so it's pulling your ankle back to try to loosen it up that way. We also use it just for hip distraction. Hook your foot in here, lay the other way, so it kind of pulls your hip to try to create some more intercapsular space. You can also use it for your shoulder the same way, pulling in here, get a deep lat stretch, try to kind of create some more shoulder space in there as well. But for this, we're going to get into the hip flexor. So what you want to do, you want to hook this underneath your glute. So you're in here, and then we're just going to drive back into that normal hip flexor stretch, right? So we're still doing everything we did before. Tilt your pelvis up, squeeze your glute, bring your arm up, try to get as tall as you can, and then I'm just going to let this thing pull my hip forward. So it's really kind of creating this forward translation here, trying to really move that thing up, and I can feel it a lot more in my hip flexor this way than if I were just trying to get it all out of my glute itself. The other thing you can do if you're going to do some kind of exercise after it, so you're using this as a dynamic warm-up, maybe you're going to do kettlebell swings or deadlift, something that's really glute heavy, we can use this to try to kind of loosen that up and activate our glutes at the same time, so we use it as a warm-up. So if we're in here, we're going to want to lunge up, so we're in the same position, but now I'm just going to drive through this back leg, get up, come back down. I can even bring my arm up if I want. Get in here, same thing. So I'm just trying to not only fire my glute, but stretch my hip flexor at the same time, so then when I go to do a swing, when I do a deadlift, it's a little easier to kind of get those motor neurons firing already. So that's two ways you guys can use the band to try to increase hip flexor flexibility, whether it's static, whether it's dynamic. You do a bunch of mobility and it kind of helps facilitate that stretch a little deeper.